I'm going to preview in Google Chrome. It'll ask you to save. Some fields in yes, just hit yes. And here it is in Google Chrome. Let's see what it looks like. There it is, and I still see that white strip there. So that's a good indicator that I better fix that. So I'm going to go back to Dreamweaver, and to fix that, one thing we could do is in the header is just put a height in there. And I'm just going to put height, and I'm going to put 160. I think we had mentioned 160 or 161 for the height. So I'm going to put a height value in there and see if that corrects it, and I'm pretty sure it is going to. So I'll go back to design, and there's live view. You can see that gets rid of that little white strip. I'm not sure what causes that, but by putting a height value in there, that seemed to fix it. So there's our header, there's our address with the background color in there now, and now we're going to start moving down our page. So I'll put in some of this stuff without you watching me type it, and then we'll do some things like floats. Okay, I put some declarations in here, and I may have to alter them as I go. I definitely will. But let me just explain a few things. I copied and pasted the address style and put it here, and renamed it footer so I could use it for the footer. This is the only thing I changed, or I should say this one. Font weight bold, so that at the bottom here, that friendly service, friendly prices is showing up in bold. That's the only thing I changed. And also, if you want to make the size a little bit bigger, I think the default is 16. We kept it in default, but you can also, if I wanted to make it a little bit bigger, I could go font size and just increase that. I think it was like 16 by default, but if you wanted to put it 18 pix, you know, you could do that as well, and it'll make it a little bit bigger. So you could put font size in there, 18 pix, and make that a little bit bigger if you went back. Okay, so, and also that's footer, so we just made it bold and made it a little bit bigger. Everything else is the same. So that has pretty much the same style as the address section. And remember, footer is an element, address was an ID, but otherwise they're the same. Nav, I put a width of 190, a height of 388, background color. Now we're not seeing a background color because it's all image. Oh yes, we are. Here's the background color, so it's matching the background color of what's going on there. Okay. And you can see a little extra there. That's because when we did our image, there was a little bit extra, but that's okay. Also, this is going to have to be bumped down. And now, I think there was like a 40 pixel padding. I didn't put that in yet, but let me put that in. Let me put that in right now just so you see what happens. I'll put in padding top. And it'll come up here. I'll put padding top. Okay, and I'll put in 40. And okay, now what's going to happen when I do that, it's actually going to add 40 pixels to this whole thing. So when you add 40 in, or when you add padding in, you actually have to remove from the height. It seems kind of weird, but that adds to the math. So if you do one at 388 and they have 40 pixels of padding, you have to remove that. So I have to do 388 minus 40, which should be 348. So I'll put that in. And that should fix this section for the nav. Now you see it's bumped down, but it didn't make it any longer. If we kept the height the same, if I put my height back to be 388 or what it was, I'll go back and split it again. You can see what it did. It made it a lot longer now. So we have to take away that extra padding that we put in there. So I'll put in my 348 for that one. And then also for section, same thing here. Width is 464. My height is 388, but then I have all this padding. I'm going to have to subtract all of this padding widths on both sides from the width and height. So if my width is 464, I have to take away my left and right padding. Okay, so that's 40, that's actually 66 on the one side and 40 on the other. That's actually 106. So I have to take 106 minus 464 and change the width of that. So, you know, you might want to do that one at a time. You might take away the 40 first, and that would make it, 424. You could change that to be 424. That takes off the 40, and then you would have to do 66. So 42 minus 66 would be 358. So I'll put in 358 in here. That should be the correct width. Same thing with the height. We'd actually be subtracting 80 from the height. So that should make it 308. That's some easy math to do in our head. So all this stuff here. Another thing to keep in mind, we have 4 declarations for padding. Padding top, padding right, padding bottom, padding left. And I put it in an order, top, right, bottom, left. It's like counterclockwise starting at 12 o'clock. Because you can actually do this. And I'll change this in here. You could do this. You could just put padding, and then I'll just kind of cut these and put these in here. You can put all 4 of them in one declaration. And then I'll put 40 again. So you can put all 4 in here. That way, that's like a kind of a shortcut to putting all the padding amounts. Okay, so for padding, I could do this, and it has to go in that order. Top, right, bottom, left. And that should do the same thing. And I just have a width and height in there. I'm not going to do anything with the font right now. The aside is 190, the height is 388. I'm just putting an image in there, so nothing to change right now. And then the footer, remember the footer we already did up here, and you could cut and paste and put that at the bottom if you wanted to keep it in the order that it is right now. So next thing I'm going to do is we're going to try to put this thing, let me look at it in design. And that actually, everything's looking okay, I think. Or no, wait, I think there's a width there we might have to change. No, I think that's okay. It's hard to tell when it's not all together. But what we're going to do next is we're going to do our floats and put all this stuff together and line them up.